You're a bit of something that I've been doing a lot recently, dude, and it's been tripping me the fuck out, bro. Is asking for things,
Yep.
bro.
Right?
Just, and I don't mean cockily or anything like that. Just the smallest things, dude. Go and wash a cup, and just be like, please, please get clean, and start washing. It takes no effort. It just becomes clean. You can go and dude, it feels so wrong to say it because it's so far out there, yet I've seen it all the time, dude. You go into an area and just ask for something to happen to you. Give it a day, it'll happen. It's the weirdest thing. Maybe it's not always just a day, maybe it may take years, but that act of asking will come. And if it doesn't, it is not the time yet. And
That, and within infinity, it quite literally will happen.
it
You can
will.
actually believe that with some sort of certainty.
Dude, good, and something that I also want to share that I've been also thinking about a lot is, so I'm gonna use my sister as an example here. My sister got her license today, which was a very big thing for her. But on Wednesday, she went to go get her license as well. But she ended up hitting a pole uh, in the parking, so they couldn't let her go through. But and in this moment, I could see how angry she was about her lapse in judgment in being and hitting that hole. But then it occurred to me that yes, you have all of this power and the ability to change things, but in the same vein, you can't be angry when you do something stupid because why else would you have done it if it wasn't what needed to happen? If
Yes, did I laugh at myself when I do stupid
dude,
shit these days?
if you like genuinely, if you were supposed to pass, you would have. If you really would have done everything, and if it really should have happened, you would have.
See
There,
that, like, you're so right as well, because if you believed enough in whatever it is you're gonna do, like let's talk about this test, then you would have studied hard enough, you would have,
you would
performed
have
well enough.
focused a little bit
Yeah,
more.
exactly. Things would have been different, and because things were different, they would have been the way that you thought they would have been. But things are different, and that's why they aren't the way you think they would have
And
been.
they are always perfect. It is never, you should never break yourself down, be angry at yourself for not having studied that extra little bit harder and you didn't, because it doesn't matter. It would have happened if you
You're
really would, and that has been tripping me out as well
and
because
you're putting yourself somewhere else as well when you do that. Like, you're no longer here. Now you're like, oh, if I was there and I was there more presently, da da
dude,
da 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 da, then this would have been na 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 na. And
means
by
nothing.
doing that, you take yourself out of this,
Yep.
the place that you thought that you weren't in. That's the thing. Like,
Yep.
you're just doing it again. Like, you're failing the test all over again.
Yep. You're literally failing it all over again instead of focusing on what you should be doing to continue. Dude, it has been a time. Uh we were tripping out over some fractals, like most of you probably are with what I've put for the background. If it's not too
Yeah, so
distracting.
like just before we started this call, I was showing Johan the little works of art I've been making, using this very cool 3D software called Mandelbulb 3D. It's kind of old, dude. I think it's like the legacy software is like 2009 or something like that. But
Oh,
it's
dude.
such a crazy piece of tech, and being able to play with it, learning how to like use this software has been such a an awesome experience. And I shared with Johan that it's such a cool age we live in. Like, we get to live in an age where we get to do crazy things because of the technological access we have. And he was
Dude.
like, oh, we need to start the stream
We need
talking about technological access.
dude, technological access is probably one of the most underappreciated things of everybody living on Earth at the
Dude, like, it's even when people complain about it right now, they're like, oh, phones are ruining our lives. And I mean, it can.
It
It
can.
can. Like, you can hit your finger with the hammer. You can. But like if you utilize it correctly, like the way that we've been trying to utilize it, like thinking about you know how to code, dude.
Yeah,
Like think about the input and power you have to
yeah.
utilize a computer in a way that nobody ever even knew was possible,
And
dude.
dude, so I'm currently tomorrow I'm gonna start on my very, very tiny project. It's just a barcode scanner for in my house. So whenever I get something in, I'm gonna scan it with a barcode, and then whenever I throw something out, I'm gonna scan with a barcode, so I always know what's in my house. And
Ooh,
just small little things like that with the ability to basically offload your problems onto just a program and have it do anything you want. I mean, even not even just problems, ideas, inspirations, creativity, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like
dude.
I feel like though something that you do a lot, Estian, is you underappreciate or overvalue coding because coding isn't a really incredible ability that you have, but being able to use software just as a general basis is almost to the same degree because you can't tell a computer what to do on the like CPU level, but you can use a program to make the art that you've made, which is pretty much the same thing that a coder can do. A coder's just made it easier for you.
Exactly. That he's like created a whole user interface based around that.
And then,
And
yeah, I'm sorry for
no, no,
interrupting
no, no,
you.
no, no, no. Like I was just like saying, and now they've just created a tool. You know, like something that was basically a tool inside of his brain that he knew how to make a CPU do with code. He just made a physical tool for other people to use as well, which is amazing.
I've never actually thought about it that way, but that is really true. You're just coding is just taking the idea you have in your head and making a computer do it. Dude, just that alone, that to me is still one of the craziest concepts that humans have accomplished. We could be like, yeah, you know this portrait of reality, we're gonna shape it. We don't like it this way, we're gonna change it and make it do whatever we want.
And we are.
We are, dude. It started with fire, and now we're forcing electrons to move.
Like it's trippy to me that you mentioned just at the start of the stream as well how you can supplement things that you usually would do to a computer. You know, and you mentioned barcode scanning, remembering for you what's in your house, what has went out of your house. But today, someone mentioned to me, "I can't believe your memory is so good," or something like that. And I jokingly said, you know, one of the curses of having a good memory is you remember how much you've forgotten, so you feel like you have the worst memory. And one of the biggest things that I look forward to with technology is supplementing my memory to actually be as good as I want it to be. You know,
Mm-hmm.
imagine not being able to forget things on a personal slash intentional level. You know, like our brain actively tries to forget as much as
Yeah,
possible.
because it's hard remembering.
That's very computationally expensive. It's resource expensive. You only have that much brain area. It's expensive to build myelin seeds, and it would rather do it on one thing other than another. And if
Yeah.
we can supplement a lot of that memory to a computer, at least like in the context of, I'm thinking very specifically with what I'm doing right now as well, Johan.
Mm-hmm.
I care so much about the people that tune into
Dude.
these streams, and I always try and give them time, give them recognition, notice them as an individual. And being able to have this backlog of information that we've shared with one another that I can almost reference in the moment that space is opened again. So while the space isn't open, that memory, that information isn't available to me. And then as
Just
soon as we are both in that space, that information becomes available again, and I can make a more informed comment
dude,
decision, create
imagine
something as a result
just
of
being
it.
able to remember people's birthdays or events and things, like setting reminders in your head or being able to keep those memories piled in a place under somebody's name or something and just like you said
That's
referencing.
exactly what I'm talking about. So I don't care too much about birthdays. Like I guess it's important, but
It's just
I
one of the
feel more
reference.
important than that is I know. I was just like, for me, like literally these conversations. Like you say something to me about, oh, I was there, you know, and then suddenly in my mind, on a world map of like places Johan has been, I have this little country light up. And the next time me and you have a conversation about the world, for example, I'm like, oh yeah, Johan, you're from this place because I
Hmm.
have that information, available to me. So imagine how much more deeply
You're
you can get to
deeply.
know a person, and deeply you can dive into conversations that you've had before, that you can kind of unmask, unearth, get deeper into.
Yeah, I feel like that's what people miss a lot, is that they don't realize that I almost said AI. Computers aren't here to ruin, they're here to enhance. That's the entire point of them. Our fleshy meat sack computers are phenomenal, beyond almost comprehension with their
The best
ability.
tech in the universe
Dude,
right
their
now.
ability to do multitasking, like the fact that your little lump of flesh is running your entire body all the time is beyond what any computer could feasibly do at that size. It's nutty. But what it's really bad at is mathematical computation. You can teach it, but it could never run at the speed that you could force electrons through a
Not even
cable. Dude,
remotely.
not even remotely. And for that, that's why I feel it's so weird. Why are we so scared of this? Why are there so many people that refuse to learn technology? It wasn't like, do you think there was the first monkey that was like, no, fire bad, when somebody pitched and be like, bro, look what I can do roasting food?
Unironically, dude, there probably was a
I
monkey
also
that
think
says
so.
fire bad, and then he left with his fire, and that was the species that continued.
I feel so
Like,
too.
and it's weird now because now we're being faced with that scenario again, where the fire is technology, and especially the computer slash internet age, and people being scared of this fire. Like, oh, the fire can burn you. Yes,
Yes.
yes, the fire can burn you, but the fire can also cook you a meal. It can feed you.
Uh,
Like, that is the mindset we're trying to get across to people. And you
yeah.
know that what the best part is it's just personal power being practiced again. If you
Mm-hmm.
believe that this thing is evil, in your mindset, in
It
your
is.
way of thinking, in your entire world, it's evil. And you've chosen it to be so.
Yup. It's that's also such a phenomenal phenomena to me is uh so a little bit of it more a deeper dive and something that I wonder a lot about is how much personal power people allow themselves. And I say it in that very specific way because I feel like what's happening a lot in the world is people are coming to these conclusions that they feel are just set about themselves, about other things, and not realizing that it fundamentally is their choice. Everything. Everything deep down to the last layer core of everything is your choice. And I really think we're underappreciating how big that choice is and how much power that allows people. Um,
And it's weird you say that, dude, because today's stream title was about distracting ourselves. And it's almost like we're distracting ourselves from that choice. We're distracting ourselves from that active involvement in that true power.
dude, I also think it's a little bit of fear. I think there's people that are scared of really taking their life in their own hands and realizing that it is. I,
Yeah.
dude, it's a big thing. Realizing that you truly have to look after yourself and no God is gonna do it for you. I'm sorry. You can respect the universe, you can respect whichever deity you want to believe. Belief is very important. It's how we influence reality, but you can't hide the power that you really possess. That's
Yo, dude,
dude.
it's you're tripping me out of how many synchronous things you're saying right now, Johan. Yesterday, and I shared this on stream today, but I feel I want to share it with you as well because it showed again to me how past bias can inform me in a way that it feels true and it feels significant, but it's just my story again.
Mm.
So yesterday, I didn't get to sleep properly. Like, I got to learn how to use that 3D software, and I was up until 5 a.m. like playing around with it.
Yeah.
So I didn't get good sleep. So last night I tried to actually sleep properly. Slept like 11 hours before that. But before I went to sleep, I took this melatonin pill, like took a big bong hit, and then I was like exercising, doing push-ups, squats, and like dancing in the midst of it. And I was like dancing in the mirror, and I was making this pattern, like arms in the middle of my being, all the way up to the points it can go into, and then meeting in the middle of my chest, and then going out to the sides, like a
Mm,
cross.
yeah.
And then from that cross back, I would make an infinity symbol over the horizontal plane of the cross. And I
Mm,
was thinking to myself, oh, what does this mean? Does me dancing like this, point to some sort of Christianity? Should I be asking questions about that? And I started, telling like going through this narrative again, growing up in a Christian household and having a dad that is relentless, if you will. So I think about these things.
dude.
And I kind of continue dancing, continue going through it, and I don't make too much of it. And then I go to sleep, or I go to close my eyes, and I see again this like fractaling out cross system. And while I was like dancing and looking at my face, I see that there's a cross technically on every single one of our faces as well. It comes down from our forehead
Mm-hmm.
all the way down to our chin, and then our eyes is
Yeah.
the cross line. So we're always looking at that cross in our like subconscious way of looking at the world as well. And I lay down and I see this cross again. And I openly ask, I'm like, okay, Jesus, if you want to talk to me, say something. And I see this picture I had saved on my phone, kind of being torn up and being burnt away. And I think that's odd, what I feel it says to me is that I should delete this photo. And I go to my phone, I go to the folder where this photo was saved in, and I delete this photo, Johan. And as soon as I hit the delete button and it disappears, you know how the app kind of replaces
Mm,
or shows you the next photo,
yeah.
after you've deleted the photo? And I'm sending this to you now. Let me find our chat. What is it called? Let me just find
This
you.
on.
There we go.
Yeah. Just go.
And this is the image that pops up. And it's a picture of a mushroom. And above it stands Jesus was a mushroom. And it's a picture of a golden teacher mushroom. And if you look at that, Johan, what do you see?
Let's see.
You see the T, and you see how the infinity symbol on that T would be the circle that makes the curvature of that mushroom. And it goes up
Mm-hmm.
in a point to make the point. And I trip out, Johan. I cannot explain to you how much I
Yeah.
trip out that this like synchronous event came up. And this Jesus was a mushroom just again showed to me that this Jesus figure that we personified in our society is this divine wisdom that we can receive from
Dude.
having a mushroom experience. And every single one of us have that within us. And if we bring that out in us and we talk about that in the universe, it can be seen as these messages from God. It can be seen as this Jesus figure, personified in each and every single one of us. And it was like this complete conclusion of your personal bias, the things you've been through in your life, and how it affects your mindset into believing that things are happening to you and you're not choosing these things to happen to you. And then I get smacked with this of just like, if Jesus was real, dude, Jesus was a mushroom.
Dude.
And yo, bro, I'm like getting goosebumps.
Dude, it's what I think gets very underappreciated as well, and I think it relates to your story very much, is that it's impossible not to be quote unquote influenced by culture because it's other people. It's not it's almost at a higher degree than our 3D space. It's in this plane of existence that we conceptually can realize where our language sits. And the wording and the word Jesus, at least, perceives and has so many fractals behind it, so much connection and intertwine into your dude. I can't speak
Yeah,
today,
dude. Personal bias, like ways of thinking,
dude. And
ideals that you make
I
about the perfect
what
man.
I
So
find
much.
myself a lot doing, and I'll so because also my family is, it's not as bad as yours, but or bad, it's, let me not say it's not as deep as yours. But my family, except besides my mom, is, and my grandfather is poly Christian. So for me, whenever I'll find myself sometimes when I'm driving in the car and I'll see a tree or something and I'll go thank you, or else wish somebody a good day. My brain
Oof,
wants to
dude,
go,
yes.
mag die Here jou seën, or may God bless you. Because
Hmm.
it's not that I specifically believe in the deity of God, but the concept that is it.
So, Johan, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but from my perspective, your God blessing that person,
yep.
quite literally, dude. Think about that.
Dude, you are. You are
Yeah.
providing energy to this human being in the form of thinking, connection, love, emotion. You are blessing them. And so I I feel like there's this vast intertwining that is both hindering, but in the same time allowing for such deep understanding of concepts and reality that we've never been exposed to as a species. Dude, it goes deep, bro. Like, just you're a bit of something that I've been doing a lot recently, dude, and it's been tripping me the fuck out, bro. Is asking for things.
Yep.
Bro,
Right?
just, and I don't mean cockily or anything like that, just the smallest things, dude. Go and wash a cup and just be like, please get clean, and start washing. It takes no effort, it just becomes clean. You can go and dude, it feels so wrong to say it because it's so far out there, yet I've seen it all the time, dude. You go into an area and just ask for something to happen to you. Give it a day, it'll happen. It's the weirdest thing. Maybe it's not always just a day, maybe it may take years, but that act of asking will come. And if it doesn't, it is not the time yet. And
That and within infinity, it quite literally will happen.
it
You can
will.
actually believe that with some sort of certainty.
Dude, good, and something that I also want to share that I've been also thinking about a lot is, so I'm gonna use my sister as an example here. My sister got her license today, which was a very big thing for her. But on Wednesday, she went to go get her license as well. But she ended up hitting a pole uh, in the parking, so they couldn't let her go through. But and in this moment, I could see how angry she was about her lapse in judgment in being and hitting that hole. But then it occurred to me that yes, you have all of this power and the ability to change things, but in the same vein, you can't be angry when you do something stupid, because why else would you have done it if it wasn't what needed to happen? If,
Yes, did I laugh at myself when I do stupid
dude,
shit these days?
if you like genuinely, if you were supposed to pass, you would have. If you really would have done everything, and if it really should have happened, you would have.
See
There,
that, like, you're so right as well, because if you believed enough in whatever it is you're gonna do, like let's talk about this test, then you would have studied hard enough, you would have,
you would
performed
have
well enough.
focused a little bit
Yeah,
more.
exactly. Things would have been different, and because things were different, they would have been the way that you thought they would have been. But things are different, and that's why they aren't the way you think they would have
And
been.
they are always perfect. It is never, you should never break yourself down, be angry at yourself for not having studied that extra little bit harder and you didn't, because it doesn't matter. It would have happened if you
You're
really would, and that has been tripping me out as well
and
because
you're putting yourself somewhere else as well when you do that. Like, you're no longer here. Now you're like, oh, if I was there and I was there more presently, da da
dude,
da 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 da, da, then this would have been na 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 na. And
means
by doing
nothing.
that, you take yourself out of this
Yep.
the place that you thought that you weren't in. That's the thing. Like,
Yep.
you're just doing it again. Like, you're failing the test all over again.
Yep. You're literally failing it all over again instead of focusing on what you should be doing to continue. Dude, it gets so deep. Like yo, bro. So many concepts, so much infinity, dude. That's the only way that I have really come
Right?
to an actual description of whatever the fuck we talk about. Like, I don't even have a word for this
Dude,
type of philosophizing.
like just it's just an infinity symbol, bro. That's what
Dude,
I've made my whole logo now, dude, because I genuinely I agree. It's like you do not know, there's not no vocabulary to explain the infinite, but we keep trying to. It's like finding yourself within in the middle of the Mobius strip, seeing a slice of that Mobius strip as your entire world, and then you move to the next, and you move to the next, and it's infinite. It doesn't stop.
dude, it's it's crazy, dude. And then the more we learn to articulate words and concepts, the more we understand. It's crazy, dude. Language. This we've spoken about it so much, but it's so powerful, dude.
You know what's crazy to me, dude? Like, Elon Musk had an interview recently where he was talking about the way he looks at spaceships. And he mentioned that if he looks at a spaceship, he sees, all of the machinery underneath it. He sees all of the fail points. He sees all of the connection points. He sees where all of the like fuel lines run. Like he has that interpretation, like data sets coming from him into him just by witnessing this thing. And it's because he understands in an articulate way, probably as well, rocket science and the way those things are built. And it's the same with programming, it's the same with, these type of subjects. It's like we're more and more equipping ourselves with the ability to see into that space
Dude,
and see more than other people usually would.
I feel like it's literally your ability to understand the fractal that is the thing. And like your ability to unravel the fractal of a rocket into its separate parts, being able to take a wood figurine and see the points you need to carve to get the image you want. That ability to extrapolate the mundane into the infinite and farther beyond is what makes us so powerful.
And it's beautiful.
It's
It's
beautiful, dude.
it's what makes us human.
Dude, this brain, this fucking thing that has somehow figured out a way to become your dude. Just I want to say alive, but it's way more than that. I language alone is starts breaking my brain when you start thinking about it because it doesn't exist in the 3D space. Yes, you can write it down, but it means nothing until it's interpreted.
Your interpretation.
And
Let's talk about that for a bit, dude. Because that is also something I talked about today. About like someone mentioned the only way for us to build a better society is to destroy everything that is, they say to me. And I'm like, I'm not so sure that's the best way to do it. And I talked about it in context of a messy environment or a messy room, or maybe not even messy. Maybe there's a bunch of things, stacked up high because that's the only place for them. And to one person walking into that room, they can see that stacking of things and they can look at it and be like, oh man, this looks so cluttered. This is a mess. I don't want all of these shapes and all of these colors in my face. And another person looks at that and, is awe inspired, absolutely infatuated with all of the colors and all of the shapes and all of the ways that things lay and can like almost get lost in this whole little world that has now been created, technically in chaos.
mm,
And I feel like that is how we're going to save this world, if anything. We don't have to destroy everything. We just have to change the way we look at them.
but dude, it is completely true. I saw this post the other day on I think it was r slash trees, where or Stoner Thoughts or something like that, where this guy was talking about he thinks that the purpose of life and purpose of humanity is to order things. We took uh, fire and we turned it into a machine. We wrote math to order our universe, and so in conclusion, make your bed because the purpose of whatever you're doing is to order. And I read it, and to a degree, I agree. I understand where he comes from in the sense of ordering things to a magnitude, yes, but in the same vein, art isn't organizing. It's understanding emotion and displaying the chaos with either within or around us. I think that it's the duality of being able to both take chaos and organize it and appreciate the universe as its complex, chaotic nature is what is really, really needed. That dual interpretation. Because sometimes you can't, for an example, you can't perform a surgery by observing only chaos. That's that's not really a feasible method. There you do need to interpret the chaos into a organized manner. And so it's your dude, it gets complicated because that interpretation leads to an ability to understand again and an ability to understand others because sharing the interpretation is what we value most between people, it feels like.
Like I feel we seek for similar interpretations.
Yeah.
You know, and when we find those similar interpretations, we have a kinship. You know, we feel less alone, we feel understood. And being understood is definitely something that humans want, dude. It's almost like it's the thing we want the most. You know, that's why we communicate, is to be understood.
Yeah, dude.
And I was thinking about that today, you know, about the fact that we communicate. We're sitting across the world. We could be sitting in a room right now talking to one another, and how this, what we're doing right now, is probably going to be done for as long as humanity is humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And that was weird to me. I was thinking about the amount of conversations that could be had, and I was thinking about it in this context of someone telling me, you know, you're just making noise. Why are you talking, or something like that? And I guess that's why, dude.
You want to
Like
understand,
we want to
dude.
be understood, and we want to understand.
Like, I think that's also, it's your dude, sympathetic connections, the understanding of pain, the understanding of love, the understanding of joy, those intricate connections that you can form with people through these shared experiences. Yeah, dude, I see where you're coming from. Dude, people are so
So
complex, dude. I love us. We're this every time I've really started to think about humans as fractals, not in a bad way. It's just there's so
you're honoring
many
me, dude. Thank you
things,
so much.
dude. Like so
It's
many things.
it's all of life this person has gone through, every personal experience, every interpretation of the
Dude.
world, everything they've eaten, every breath of air they've breathed, every drop of water that they drank, you know, the microorganisms that they came across. There's
Dude.
so much, and then you want to like pinpoint, you want to point at something and just be like, yes, this is you.
Yeah, dude, that's why I feel like seeing things as fractals is something that I think is also a little underappreciated because I've been staring at this Mandelbrot Zoom now for half an hour. And what's so interesting to me about fractals is that the point of fractals is to look at the whole. You can look in, zoom in, and each portion is just as beautiful as the whole. But without the whole, it's doesn't matter.
It doesn't fit.
It
And it's
doesn't
so it's
fit.
so like I'm so happy that you said it that way, because I've been trying to find a way to say it as well. But like there's a seekingness that happens to it, like, and you mentioned you can look at the different places and you can zoom into the different places and you can find beauty in those different places, but if it's not a part of the whole, it would be misplaced, it wouldn't be as beautiful.
And it wouldn't your almost serve anything. I don't mean that in the like forcible serving, but in the under the
The serving that art
expressing.
serves us in,
Yeah,
yeah.
dude. It like if you look at a person and you look, or if you look at a fractal and you look at one portion of it, you glance over it very quickly because it's small and insignificant. But added to the whole, it becomes glorious. It becomes exponentially more not important, but your I don't know what the word here is.
it
Exponentially
you
more.
you become aware,
Yeah,
you become more aware, you know. And like while you're talking, and like we're talking about fractals and seeing people as fractals, I'm making, you know, today's Patreon work of art, which I'm literally folding myself into a fractal.
dude.
Oh dude, like this experience, has so many layers. And just think about that sentence I just said to you. You're like, you understand what I'm talking about because you've seen the works of art I've been making. But imagine saying that to like Socrates or like, the Leonardo da Vinci, it's like, yes, I'm going to now fold myself into a fractal. And then you show him a photo of, you being folded or your folded self in a fractal. And just what would they say, dude? What would they think of that? What the hell did you just say? What is that? And we're like just so casual about it, like, oh yeah, okay, sure. Fold yourself into a fractal then. Okay.
Dude, so many of that is the it's I still think people understand the complexity of things we say these days, but I don't think they're truly appreciated. Like Bluetooth, dude. Just just go back 100 years and show somebody the fact that my phone can talk to my earphones without a wire. Bro, just magic. Literal invisible shit that we cannot see is being transmitted through the air so that my earphones and my phone can talk together. Just that alone, dude. It's incredible what we can do. And also this is hella bright. I love this white. Dude, it's too cool, bro. I love being alive. I love experiencing things, being able to just interact, man. Be a part of.
Whew, dude, like I I did a whole stream around it as well, but I had this weird type of set of dreams where things were just, happening so fast. And at the end of the dream, I found myself in a very collaborative space with you friends, with Christian, with Uncle Becky, with Toasty, like so many friends that I want to co-create with, that I already am co-creating with. We were co-creating even more. And I was like very happy about that experience. And I wake up into this world and I just think to myself how we are literally living the dream right now. Like some of our dreams can be so chaotic, like this action and we're running here and then we're like being chased by something and then we're like seeing something absolutely bizarre and then we're flying and then this and then that and then we wake up and we have calm.
Dude.
We have we have silence and more importantly, even trippier, we have one another, Johan.
Mm.
Like just think about that in the context of the stuff you dream about as well. Like it's you versus this environment usually. And it's technically you rendering that entire environment. But when you wake up into this collective dream, there are other beings that are dreaming with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Dude,
so crazy.
with the same amount of awareness, with the same amount of uh ability to understand, dude. Yeah, we are I don't know what this reality thing is, whether it's just a reality maker, whether it's I don't know. It could be even a fucking prison, bro. I have no idea. But
Bro, this is prison.
it
Sign me up
dude,
for prison
I'm
too.
like, I sign me up for. Dude, imagine if this is prison. You wake up and it's like 1 billion times better on the other side, and you're like, huh, okay, yeah, now, okay, that's fair.
I guess sentence served.
Dude, no,
Woo!
it's funny. I like just the fact that we can also dream of that, dude. Things we can talk about things that we've never seen. We'll never know. We'll never know until that happens, but we can think about them.
Dude, talking about that, how much have humans talked about death and
Dude,
how like dying is the only way to find that secret?
literally, dude. You could never know. Never ever until you
You could
die.
actually never know. Yeah, right. It's hilarious.
Dude. But see, I've also been thinking a lot about worrying and how useless it is. Like, to a degree, do not even, bro. Worrying is just this constant fear you create for yourself that things are gonna go wrong. And
It's it's hope and evil, dude.
dude, it is. It's hope and it's it's hope and evil, dude. It is. It's belief in evil. It's the belief that things are going to be bad, and it's so sad to me that this is what we've come to. Everywhere I turn, people are just you're like, it'll be okay, and people are like, no. I'm like, why would you say that? Why would you purposefully force reality to bend to your will as bad? It makes
Yeah,
no
exactly.
sense to
Like
me,
people are
dude.
like, "Oh, this world is fucked, and there's nothing that we can do to save it." And I'm like, "Okay, do you like believing that?"
You're literally making it reality by saying the words and by speaking that it becomes what you believe, and what you believe translates outwards into actual physical reality.
And I wanted to say the hilarious part, but I don't know if it really is that funny. But let's say the funny part about it is, even if the world is going to be arguably better in other places, the world is going to be saved in this, space, if you will, and you have been believing, still do believe that this world is unsavable. In your world,
It
you will
will,
never feel saved. You will
yep,
never feel satiated. You will always feel like there is, the doom and
dude.
gloom, the doom and gloom.
It's why I will never and could never subscribe to the Christian doctrine, bro. I'm sorry, I don't need to continuously wake up every morning thinking that I am not enough. That's wrong.
But
That
not that you're not enough, but that you are evil
you're
by
you're
nature.
evil
And
by
the only
nature, dude.
way for you to be saved is by, literally laying yourself down at something else.
Dude, no, it's one of the most broken idealisms that we have on the planet at the moment. No person should wake up and the first thing they think is evil. And I don't mean that in like the killing way. I mean that just in the way that you treat yourself, dude.
Dude, people are not being kind to themselves.
Nah, dude. One, being healthy,
Oh,
man. Just I recently installed an app on my phone that just reminds me to drink water. That's all it does. There's no like rhyme or reason to it. It's just every now and again reminds me to drink water because you need
it's a
water.
good reminder to have.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's just some days, sometimes it pops and I'm not in the mood and I don't go drink it. But just that continuous reminder, stay healthy, dude. Take care of yourself. Love your body. This thing is incredible. It's keeping you alive, and it's gonna do it for at least a couple decades.
Decade. At
Like,
least 10,000 years. Thank you, buddy.
dude, thank you, buddy. It'll be if you manage to keep me alive for 10,000 years, I will be eternally grateful. But
Come on, buddy. I challenge you, dude. I don't think you can do it, buddy.
I also don't think you can do it, buddy.
Suddenly, freaking myostatin gets downregulated by 50%, brain derived neurotropic factor up by 5,000%,
Dude,
testosterone coursing through our veins. We're growing like 5 grams of muscle per breath.
dude, every morning you wake up and you're just double the size.
Dude, I just like my bed is like broken. It's just like broken underneath me. The little legs are like pointing to all sides.
Dude,
I
the
stand up and the
cartoon,
floor
dude.
breaks underneath me. I drop down for push-ups and I push the whole earth down.
Down, dude. That's so
Legs
late.
just floating in the air.
Oh, dude,
Oh
that's funny,
man,
man.
imagination. If I had
Imagination. So there's this recently. I play a lot of tabletop games, as you know. But one of the ones that we play is called Vampire, or it's called World of Darkness. And one of the really cool thing about it is in this World of Darkness there are mages. But what the way mages work in this is really cool, and it I really like the way they've did that. Basically, the way mages work in the system is that you learn to understand, or it basically stems that the way we believe that, or actually, let me rephrase this. What happens in there is that there are two worlds: the uh, not forgotten, I can't remember, and the supernal. And the way it works is every time a soul goes from the supernal into the normal world, they become sleepers. They don't remember that they come from this higher dimension. And mages have remembered that they come from that higher dimension. And they're able to, through the understanding, belief, willpower of this higher dimension, use their imagination to influence the reality around them. And I found that to be the coolest fucking way magic has ever worked for me, because it's how magic works in our world. Magic doesn't, you can't make yourself fly by jumping off a bridge. It's just the belief of gravity is just too much. There's no way that you're gonna get around that. But we built planes. If you go show a
We're building
plane,
jetpacks right now. They're
dude,
working.
dude, they're almost there. Human flight is very close. We're
No,
getting
no, no,
there.
no, 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 no. Jetpacks are fully working, dude.
Oh,
They flew from England into inland, dude.
wow.
Yeah, bro, with a jetpack.
Wow, dude. See, this is magic. What we've just said, this is actual magic in our reality. It's the ability of the collective belief to influence reality to the point that it becomes true.
Dude, and that's literally what the metaverse is right now.
Dude,
Like that's what the internet is. It's this collective dream to be able to share experiences, communication,
it's telepathy.
information
The
worldwide,
dream,
literally telepathy.
the
Yeah,
dream
you're
of
right.
telepathy that we've
You're
had
so
for
right. Oh, dude,
eons
that's genius, bro.
is
You're completely right.
done, dude. We've done it. This is why I get so angry at people that don't recognize this, and I know they can't, because for us to get to where we are, Estian, we have been through a lot. We may be young, but I've done a lot of mental gymnastics, bro.
Yeah, dude,
A
we have.
lot. And I think that has helped tremendously in the ability to understand to this level. Oh,
I
dude,
feel we're blessed, dude.
we
Like
are, dude.
I don't know if I can take like too much credit for it sometimes, because I feel it's almost like a remembrance more than a knowing, you know? Like it's like we know that we're from this different space. This fifth dimensional mind is technically where we always reside. And it's almost like this fifth dimensional mind encapsulates all of
Oh, dude.
mind. And you can just pull information from that. And it's like we can pull information from that, but we're also blessed enough to actually be able to interpret the information we're receiving.
Dude, to tiny infinitesimal small amount of that information that we're receiving, but we can. And that's crazy to me, dude. That is so nuts, man. That we have this ability to, and the conversation we're currently having is just your brain plowing through mind and trying to find the concepts that you want, but you're so used to where they are that they no longer require effort to find.
Dude, oh man, so I don't know if you understand how the like brain derived neurotropic factor and myelin seeds and
I do not.
the default state mode network kind of play a role in our aging process. So the default mode network is basically this established set of brain firing patterns that your brain goes into, and you're in that state right now. And if you take a significant amount of mushrooms or LSD or DMT, then that part of your brain literally gets completely downregulated, and your thinking, your understanding of self gets downregulated with it. You know, you melt away, your ego
Mm-hmm.
melts away, there's nothing left of it. But what we've now realized is that that happens almost as a, I want to call it a defense mechanism, as a pruning system for our neurons. So as we age, the things we don't use, the things that don't have value, literally get pruned, and the things that have the most value, that are reoccurring the most in the existence, almost have myelin seeds wrapped around it. And that becomes your
Making, yeah.
default mode network. And what we've been doing is basically stimulating these pathways that come from or connect to an infinity. So it's like this pathway starts, and you've experienced this more than once, and I know it because I've heard you experiencing it, and I know how I feel when I experience it. It's this, you go into this pathway, and then suddenly it's almost like you hit the wall of that
Yup.
infinity where you don't have neural pathways left anymore, or new ones have to be formed in that area. And I believe that's what we're doing constantly, like pushing, pushing,
Yep, the
pushing.
more you think, the more you push in a direction, the more you're accessing, and the more you're building your neurons.
That, and we're also allowing our collapsed state to be more inclusive, more
Mm,
infinite than it would be if we just kind of like got into a 9 to 5 grind and just did that, didn't have conversations, maybe like watch a good show every now and then. That would have been the the pathways that we're gonna get trimmed, instead. But I'm so grateful to have you friends. Like, it's world changing, literally
it
world
is,
changing.
dude. Being able to talk about it, and it sounds bad not to feel crazy because it's quite far out there from what the church indoctrinated most of society into, and what most religions have indoctrinated us into. That it sometimes feels like you're going ever so slightly mad, and then it happens in front of you, and you're like, but it's there. It's a thing, and that being able to tell other people and have other people go, yeah, I see it. Holy shit, that is huge.
And we're contributing to that vastness right now.
Dude, using your imagination is a thing that is so rarely done. Properly sitting down and visualizing things. Meditation is so important, dude.
Yes, 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 yes.
It's
I
so
keep freaking telling
important.
you, like Christian, to meditate, and he keeps telling me that I'm right about meditation, but he doesn't freaking meditate, and I forget as well sometimes.
Yeah,
We get
you do.
distracted.
You do, dude. I got distracted for 3 weeks while I was at home.
Yeah,
And do you know what it
easy
did?
peasy.
You know what it did? It destroyed my ability to deal with certain things. Because
Mm.
I wasn't, and it weirdly, it was just because I allowed things to influence me that I wouldn't have had I sat down and thought about them. Yes, a couple days ago, I sat down again for the first time and did a proper meditation session, and the amount of weight off your shoulders by just instead of always, because what you do a lot of the time when you don't meditate is you just take things and you just push them to the side. You don't deal with them because you don't allow yourself the time to. But when you sit down,
You distract yourself from it.
yeah, dude, when you sit down, you're like, okay, fine. Brings a giant shelf of stuff in front of you and goes, okay, picks one thing, let's deal with this. Why do I feel this way about this?
Examine it, hold it in
Dude,
your hands, look at it from
feel
all
it.
angles.
And that is how we deal with things. That's how we get better. It's not distracting yourself, looking away, sounds taking pills. It's
Listening to music, a video,
it's
like
sitting down,
eating something, getting in a car, putting a
dude.
movie on. And I do it as well,
I do it too.
but just taking a bit of time just to not do it.
Not
You
to
know,
do
and
it,
then you
man.
and then you find yourself in that space and you're like, what the hell? This is great.
Yeah, dude, I feel so good. I can feel, and the funny thing is also reinforcing certain things. Stuff that you, because what happens a lot, and I've found, is that you get so influenced by people around you and the way they act. Um, at least I really do. It's very hard for me to completely stay me when I live with other people. Um, and you to take the time to just reassess what your values are is also really important. Like we said, taking the neural structure and actively influencing it rather than just letting pass your
Yeah.
subconscious do it for you.
Let it influence you instead of you influencing it.
Yep, dude.
Hmm.
It's insane. it's it's
We're the
mind-boggling.
insane ones.
We're completely nuts, dude.
Dude, so like it's so crazy to me because today we were talking about like a fungal coffin, and this coffin could, have some sort of psychedelic mushroom species, and then psychedelic mushrooms would sprout from your burial site, and your family members could eat psychedelic mushrooms coming from you. This is
Yo,
something that Toasty says, and I'm like, that sounds really cool, but I like, and me understanding a little bit about the mushrooms now, I know that they don't really like growing on flesh. so it wouldn't work one, and the flush would be probably limited, so only a few people would be able to do it. So I mentioned I would like them to extract all of the DMT out of me. And you'd have someone to smoke.
Dude, just
And
oh,
yeah, so please. I was
and
trying to
that
remember what I was getting at. Oh yeah. So and then like one of the friends mentioned that technically this Meltmore stream is like a fungus at this moment, where each and every comment are these mycelium little threads that
yeah,
influence and grow upwards for me to kind of like bring forth a fruit, a mushroom in the conversation, in the little snippet of wisdom or snippet of love, because of what that person has said, the thread that has grown up to become the mushroom. And I
dude,
was like tripping out because where would we ever hear something like that, say something like that,
dude.
imagine something like that if we weren't crazy?
Exactly.
And I'm like, that's being crazy is kind of sick.
And dude, being crazy is so cool because the thing is, there's a very big difference between being genuinely nuts. Like that other guy I don't even want to mention his name, the guy you showed me. That that is but that's like I don't even know what that is. That's not insane. That goes farther. That's like completely believing that what you're doing is right. But this is just allowing yourself to let your brain go. Like
So I was about to say, dude, like the difference is in allowing ourselves to experience those things, as crazy as they may be, and actively and feverlessly believing that those things are real.
yeah, yeah. Fine line, dude. And it's actually not that fine. I'm actually gonna say I feel like it's just yeah, I don't know where I was taking this.
Oh, no problem, dude. I'm going mobile a bit. I don't know if my audio changed.
A little bit, but dude, who cares? This has never, ever, 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 ever been a professional thing. I don't think it ever will be. Like
Don't you dare say that, bro. I have visions of a whole ass studio, dude. I want to do it. I want to do it.
fine, dude. I'm down. I still our mocap suits, dude. Actually, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, dude. Actually, weirdly enough, like we're just going. Okay, so I want to say 1,000 things. By the time we want to be doing this professionally, the equipment to do so and the means to do so will be available to us as well. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like I what I was like I know what a mocap suit costs now. I think it's 20,000 US, a proper mocap. And if you look at what phones, or what the technology in phones used to cost, and what phones cost now, yes, it's still like $2,000. But the fact that you have a phone that can fly a rocket to the moon, and it doesn't
Technically,
cost
technically, the
billions.
majority of the society that we live in right now get the technology that cell phones have been working on pretty affordably.
Yeah, dude.
You can like the technological advancements we've made in cell phone technology kind of bled into every single one of the other markets of cell phones as well. Like you can get a usable phone, let's say, for less than $200 right now,
Yo,
like
dude,
dollars.
absolutely, and it's gonna be a smartphone.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But it's crazy.
Hmm.
That's dirt cheap.
And so I've
Literally cheaper than actual dirt, dude.
yeah, dude. So I think like you said, by the time we want to do it, and it's like a really big thing, vocab suits are gonna be cheap. They're gonna be like buying a phone. Once metaverse really kicks off and people really want to be able to interact as their character, that's when it's just gonna be a revolution for mocap's.
Dude, like we're already those characters and we already want to participate. It's just
Mm-hmm.
going to be another world in which to participate. And what people are scared of is that there are going to be people that don't want to participate in this world anymore. But the reason I don't believe that will ever happen is because we still will be expected to take care of our bodies. We will still
Yeah,
have to eat. We will still have to drink water. We will still have to, like sleep and as a result be out of that. And I guarantee you, festivals and like get-togethers are going to be even bigger because people are going to crave that social interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, when it comes to like eating and drinking, that is something we're going to do together as well. So even if we completely get enthralled by this world, we will still actively have in-world experiences, beautiful
Dude,
in-world experiences.
and for those very few that do get lost, that's what they wanted.
Yeah,
It's like
that's the
today.
collective dream, and the collective dream realized it for those that wanted it as well.
Dude, it'll happen. And so I always find it so intriguing when people get angsty about other people's lives. Who the fuck cares? It's their life.
It's their
Unless,
life.
dude, unless
You
they're
know,
like
people
unless
worrying about other people's lives has been causing so much problems for like eons.
dude, eons. The only time you need to intervene in somebody else's life is under the circumstances that they are harming other people's lives. And when when they harm other people's lives is when it really becomes a problem. But up until that point, who cares, dude? Let people be people. There's enough shit in the world. Don't try and organize other people. Just take care of your life.
Biggest thing, prohibition or overregulation is only going to make it worse
It
every
is,
single time.
dude. It is. No, we need to
Believe it or
realize
not,
that.
what society is absolutely against the metaverse revolution?
No.
China.
Okay.
Are you surprised as I am by that?
That people are against metaverse because of China.
No, 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 no. Let me switch over to my computer again. China is the country that is the most against the metaverse. Like they're
Oh.
for their citizens. They
Obviously
don't want their
though.
yeah, dude. But I mean, obviously, but it shows me again that when it comes to freedom, human freedom, people are like
Dude.
scared that humans are gonna lose their freedom because they're going to be trapped in this other world.
It's more
But this is
free.
the society that really traps their people with social crediting systems, with
Yeah.
extreme drug laws where they kill people. If you believe certain religions, they put you in concentration camps. That's happening. They literally have been plastering the what do you call him, emperor or whatever's face over like religious symbols in churches and stuff as well. They have to have his face in the church. They can't have like Christian like
Dude.
symbolism. Like
It's
that's what's happening there, dude. And on top of that, they're anti-metaverse. So if they believe that this metaverse world can be
is
utilized to control people, they would have been the ones investing
yeah.
the most
But
money
they
into it.
don't but they realize that freedom is your ability to explore and experience. And
Yes,
the
dude.
more you
Exactly.
allow that to happen, not necessarily outside of your body, but allowing your mind to wander, that is true freedom. And it's hard in reality because you have to get there. You have to physically take your move there. When it's in either your imagination or in the internet or metaverse, doesn't matter. Space isn't a thing.
Yeah, it's all you, dude.
It's just you, dude. It's crazy, dude. No, I'm actually completely non-surprised that China wants to go against the metaverse. It
No,
makes
dude. Like
total sense, dude.
it makes complete sense, and it hurts me to see that that's happening to their people
Dude,
again. Not only do they not get to have complete freedom in their actual realities, they won't even get to have freedom in a virtual
dude,
reality,
but
dude. That's so fucked.
the problem is, and I wonder how much of China doesn't even know.
You would be surprised
Like,
how
I
many
think
of
it's a
them.
huge portion, dude.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you would have had rebellions. If the vast majority of people were against what was happening, then it would be rebellion. Um,
Homie, like I saw in school in the schools I was teaching, bro. They literally start from 4-year-old children
yeah,
indoctrinating them
dude.
about how fantastic China is, how awesome the culture is, how grateful they are to the government for keeping things so orderly. No, 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 protecting them from criminals. No, 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 no. It's dude, it's brainwashing. It's
Brainwash.
extreme brainwashing.
That's why I feel like a weird pivot, but that's why I feel like South Africa has so many problems because we're pretty much the exact opposite. We have parental things like that sometimes, and the generic school indoctrination of you need to work hard and blah blah blah. But we have true freedom of speech, dude. I could walk into the middle of Pretoria and just scream I hate Jacob Zuma, and nobody could do anything to me. There's proper free speech, and that is one of the biggest blessings we
So
have.
Johan, it's weird you say that, bro, because I've been tripping out. You know, I've been tripping out about living in South Africa, tripping out about the fact that so many people are leaving. It is dangerous. It has so many problems. But after my New Year's experience, I am kind of convinced that South Africa might be coming around, maybe
Uh,
not in the next 5 years, but probably in the next 10 years. And where do we want to spend the rest of our lives, you know?
Dude, I love this country. I used to not, but I've been to other countries, dude. Yeah, we have our problems, but bro, this place is incredible. The weather, the people, culture, the inclusiveness. Bro, we have 11 national languages, and we have never ever, after 1994, there has been no hate crime or hate wars. It's We have some farm killings, and I have my own opinion on that, and I
It's
won't.
not it's not a war. I
It's not
mean,
a dude. There's
like, and people aren't like going out and doing the same. It's not a civil war that's happening.
no, dude, and I'm just gonna say my 1 2 cents on the farm killings because I feel like it's really undervalued and people are gonna hate me for it. But I think some of the things you don't do. This is something that I have also come. People will very, very few poor people in this planet will just be violent. You get to a point where you can no longer take something and it
Yeah.
spews into violence. That is just
Exactly. Like,
what it
there's a
is.
there's a certain level of aggression and disdain and disbelief in,
And
like like that has to build up in you
yep, and
before something like
that
that happens.
doesn't just happen. You cannot convince yourself from nothing. That needs to be external factors that are forced upon you to get to the point where you now believe this. And I think the farm murders have some portion of that, and the farm murders are also
So,
completely
like, the
overstated.
thing I want to say as well, like what happens apparently with some of those murders as well, is that they hype each other up. You know, in a scenario where you get aggressive like that, where you draw parallels with the suffering that has happened, and then you project that suffering onto
Yep.
another person. So you can convince yourself, you know, to be that hateful. But I don't believe it is that common. I believe it's a statistical insignificance.
It's
That's
completely
that's the word I would
insignificant,
use.
dude.
No, no, no,
Like,
no. It's not
oh,
completely
not completely.
insignificant
Sorry. Yeah, I mean,
because it
yeah,
has real world. It has real world, you know, impact, and people are getting hurt as a result of it. But statistically, it's insignificant. You
yeah.
know, when
That's
it comes
yeah,
to the everyday single person and how you should live your life, if you should be in fear of that type of reality in
yeah.
that way.
And what I was trying to go to with this entire thing is that I think we keep, oh, especially in this country, and I don't want to speak for the rest of the world, but we keep convincing ourselves that there is this underlying discomfort or underlying hate that just doesn't exist. And that is this continuous cycle of we keep looking backwards. It's
Yep.
just over and over and over. And yes, it's sad that it's happened. Yes, we've been through a load of things, but I genuinely believe that this country is getting better, and I genuinely believe that the entire world is getting better. If you look, I saw another thing, dude, where there was a post on some place, I don't remember which subreddit it was, that claimed that the United States violent murders was the highest it has ever been. Then the right below it on the first comment is a post from Data is Beautiful where some guy went and actually drew it up. Currently, America in the early 19th century, they had something stupid like yo, man, it was, I don't remember what the statistic is, but let's just call it they had 1,000 violent crimes a month. Currently, they have 100. There
Oh,
is this continuous feeling like it's just the world is burning down. And it's not. It's just getting better. Every generation has more food, more access to information, more creativity, and more standard of living. We
I
just,
think I think we've just become very empathetic as beings, dude.
dude.
And because we're empathetic, we see suffering, we see pain in this world, and it elicits that the world is burning response.
And do you know what's the funniest thing? The more we think the world is burning, the more we will do to save it, and the more it will not be burning, which is actually a pretty cool cycle that's happening. And that's why I also think that uh, the planet will be okay. I'm definitely not on the portion of
Dude,
people that believe it's gonna burn
even
down, dude.
even if humans aren't okay, the planet's gonna be okay as like nonetheless. Like that's I think maybe we can end the podcast on that note. It might be a little bit gloomy, but w- Mother Earth loves us.
Very
But
much,
she
dude.
loves us in the way that, you love a garden. And if this root, if this thing you've planted, sucks up all the water and poisons the soil it's in, and then kills itself by doing that, it's not
Mhm.
going to, pull you out and give you CPR trying to keep you alive. It's going to plant a new garden.
It's gonna plant a
We
new
have a
garden.
garden right now. We have to protect this garden. And
Right.
friends, I know that you want to. Thank you, Yuan, for helping protecting this garden. Just by, bringing awareness to the fact that it's not as bad in this garden as people make it out to be.
It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place, dude. Appreciate it for it.
I appreciate you, and I
I
appreciate this garden for bringing me you.
thank you, man. I love you so much. So, so very much. Let's have an
I love
incredible
you
night.
so much as well, Yuan. Thank you. Have a fantastic one as well, Brother
Thank you.
Bear.
And to
Cheers,
all the
man.
friends, love.
Love to you.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.